Today we have a new lesson, Unit 5, Lesson 2, the water cycle. Where does water come from? In this lesson, we are going to know where does water come from. Water travels from the land to the sea in a process called the water cycle. What the meaning of water? Water cycle. Okay. Water cycle means the circulation of the Earth's water. These are the stages. What the meaning of stages? Stages means one of series of positions, one above the other. Number one, evaporation. Evaporation means change from a liquid to a vapor, evaporation of water. Let's start on the ground. Heat from the sun makes water in the sea, in lakes, and in rivers start to evaporate. So the water turns into vapor. This vapor rises up into the atmosphere. Then number two, condensation. Condensation means small drops of water that form when warm air touches a cold surface. As the air rises, it starts to cool. This makes the water vapor condense into drops of water. These join together to make clouds. Then number three, precipitation. Wind. What the meaning of precipitation? A reaction that leads to the formation of a heavier solid in a lighter liquid. Wind moves the clouds in the sky. The clouds get bigger and heavier. Precipitation is when water falls from the clouds as rain, snow, or hail. What the meaning of hail? Pieces of ice. When rains falls on high ground, it turns down mountains and hills as rivers. This is runoff. The rivers start small and narrow. They get deeper and wider. As they gather more water, rivers run to the sea and the cycle starts again with evaporation. Some water soaks into the ground. What the meaning of soaks? To make something very wet. Into the ground. This is groundwater. It flows into rivers and lakes that are under the ground. These can back to the surface as a spring. A spring can become a river or a lake. The water evaporates and the cycle starts again. Okay, let's move to page 69. Here we have rivers, seas, and oceans. There are two types of liquid water. So we have two types of liquid water, fresh water and salt water. Rivers and lakes have fresh water in them. So rivers and lakes have fresh water in them. The water comes from precipitation and springs. Seas and oceans have salt water in them. So seas and oceans have salt water in them, and rivers, lakes have fresh water in them. Okay? Because rain washes minerals from the land and from rocks. These minerals go into the sea in run of water. Rivers don't have salt water because the rain keeps fresh water moving through them. Okay? Let's check our vocabulary together. These are a new vocabulary. So, here condensation. Condensation, small drops of water that form when warm air touches a cold surface. Water cycle. Water cycle. The circulation of the earth's water. Evaporation. Evaporation. Change from a liquid to a vapor. Evaporation of water. Groundwater is a water located below the ground surface. So this is the groundwater. Under the ground surface. Okay? This is fresh water. Fresh water like rivers, water, and lakes water. Water that is not salty. Okay, that has no salt. This river, a long natural area of water that flows across the land. Salt water, water to which salt has been added, like seas and oceans. Super. Here, rise up, to rise to the surface. Rise up. Then stages. Stages. One of series of positions, one above the other. Flow. To move in a stream. So flow, to move in a stream. Hill, a high of land that is smaller than a mountain. Then narrow, limited in size or scope. Okay. Experiment. So experiment, a test, especially a scientific one that you do in order to discover what it is like. Experiment. Float, to stay on the surface of a liquid and not go under. Can you see the bottle? Float on the surface of water. Freeze, to become hard and solid because it's very cold. Then melt, to change from a solid into a liquid because of heat. Surrounded by, to be everywhere around something. Okay, to be everywhere around something. Come back, to return to a place. To return to a place. Let's check our exercise together. Here we have choose exercise. Choose the correct answer. She filled the jug with fresh air or fresh water or fresh flour to drink it. Yeah, fresh water. Milk, salt water, juice is water with a high amount of salt in it. So which water that has salt? Yeah, salt water like yeah, seas and oceans. Super. I like swimming in the sea. Yeah. All rivers at the end play or run or flew in the sea. Yeah, flew in the sea. The street is too narrow or too fat or too happy for a truck to pass. Yeah, it's too narrow. Super. The result of the experiment song food was good. Yeah, experiment. Yeah, super. Then we have the rest of the exercise. An empty bottle will float or eat or jump on water. Yeah, will float. It's very cold. They are going to freeze, stand, or read outside without their jackets. Yeah, freeze. The butter slept, melted, grew in the frying pan. Yeah. So the butter here is going to change from the solid to liquid. So by heat, it's going to melt. So melted. The butter melted in the frying pan. The island is a piece of land placed or surrounded by or cut water. Yeah, surrounded by water. Has water surround it. Okay? Dad comes or sleeps or dances back home after work late in the evening. Yeah, dad comes back home after work late in the evening. Thank you, my dear students, and bye bye.